Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. You know, it seems as if day and night I find occasions to want to come back and say something to you because you need help. We all need help. And from my observation as a social scientist and a spokesman for basic human rights, we are not getting that. And so I find that it is essential that those who know, and I can only vouch for one, and that's me. And so this is why I'm coming here talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday we had Attorney General session. Went before the Senate Investigating Committee to answer some questions pertinent to this presidential election and all the things that went wrong. And this man had no information to give. He told those things that he could just say yes to or whatever. And the stuff that was hidden, the stuff that is motivated and played a part in this whole deception, in this whole illegal activity and immoral act, those things they refused to answer. Refused to answer. So you can say, well, it didn't look. If you refuse to answer, it's because the answer is exactly what you know it is. If you refuse to answer, for all those guys who went before the Senate Investigating Committee and said certain things that didn't bring any trouble, and all those things that would indicate trouble, all those things that would show the violations that they have committed, they did not speak on them. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you of the world, those of you who are just average people, I want you to know that that is what happened. What they didn't tell you is exactly what they were doing. What they didn't tell you is exactly what has caused the problems that we have in this day. And I don't want you to think that President Trump is any goody two-shoe. He's a highlight of all of this. He's the highlight of all of this. And when he asked Comey, that he wanted loyalty, and Comey came back and told us that what he said, you can bet your last money that everything that he said to Comey about loyalty, he said it to everybody else. He said it to Flynn. He said it to all those people that he's appointed in positions. And every last one of them that's going around there giving him lip service right now said, we will honor you. We will, what? Be loyal to you. And this is why they're lying before the American people, or keeping their mouths shut before the American people, because they've sworn allegiance, not to America. That stuff when they get in and put it in the Bible and talking to you don't mean a thing to them. What means to them is where that money is coming from, what they're connected to. And when they've lied and put themselves in a compromising position, they're keeping their mouths shut because they don't want anything to interfere with that. But this is the system that they live in. The system that we can change it to would exonerate them. Okay, that's enough about those guys. Oh, I'd like to say something else. During this investigation, some of the Republicans were referring to the fact that Democrats, in the initial beginning of this concern, talking about collusion. And one of those senators made it apparent and obvious that no Democrat had talked about collusion since they had been in this meeting. None whatsoever. You even had people talking about that the things that they did talk about had no pertinence whatsoever in regards to why these people were called. And you got Sessions sitting there talking about we're going to have to get some law in this land. All in the communities where people are doing this killing, where drugs are killing people. We're going to have to get some law in this land. Where policemen are getting killed, we're going to get some law in this land. We're going to get some law in this land. We're going to do it. Now, what he's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is you. If when it comes down to the congressmen, those liars, like the one who's going to bring order to, that lying crap that he's doing, that lying that President Trump is doing, lying every day. Nobody's going to him and say, President, you can't be lying to the people like this. You can't be lying to the world like that. We're going to have to hold you accountable for the lies you're telling. No. That's not about them. They can tell those lies. They can do all the lies they want to. It's you that they want to get. So you on the street who are selling dope. You on the street who can't find a job. You on the street who's so messed up you don't know what to do. They're going to come after you. They're going to come after you because you don't know that the position that you're in, they created it. They created it. And since you have never been taught the truth, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to respond. And so when they start talking about coming down and correcting, they're not talking about correcting the system. They're talking about controlling the public. So controlling the public. When you saw those Indians out there in Dakota talking about their rights and their land. And you saw those military people out there with shields on and guns and sticks and stuff like that. That's tyranny. That is absolute tyranny. That is in the pit of hell. Those are the demons of hell trying to keep order. Trying to keep order, and killing you doesn't mean anything if it means keeping order. Those are the demons carrying out the agenda of the most evil voice everywhere. That's what they're doing, but they don't know that. So what is actually going on, ladies and gentlemen? Here's what's going on. In the beginning, there were certain people who were all trying to live comfortable, or somebody decided that they deserved to be living more comfortable than anybody else. So they started telling lies, like some people were more important, more special, had more to give and more to offer, and should get more from out of life than anybody else. And since they had so much, and these other folks had so less, then these other people said that it was sent and designed to serve those who got so much. And they taught that from the beginning of time to the day. And all the religious orders have tried to attack that from the inception, but they found it so complicated and difficult till they ended up going along with the program, because the program found a way to smooth the waters. They let the leadership benefit just like they benefit. The leadership benefit just like the powers that be benefit. And to heck with the people. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I come along. When you start talking about terrorism, what do you think terrorism really is? What do you think terrorism is about? Let me tell you what an act of terrorism is. An act of terrorism is to set up and decide that you are going to take something that belongs to somebody else, one way or another. It might be kind of smooth and sneak it out of them. That's terrorism. You might not know about it. But if you do and you try to hold on to it and they find some other way to come at you. For instance, the poverty, the results of the crime and violence, that's all terrorism. Some people have decided that this is terrorism and they're not going to take it anymore. They're going to stand up to the powers that be that allows this crap to happen. Then you want to go on war with them. These are the kind of people that go in other countries who have been fed up with what the United States, and what I say about the United States, let me tell you, I've studied history. Every superpower that has ever existed on the face of the earth was demonic. They got to that position because they were demonic. They lied, they cheated, they stole, they did whatever they could to possess more power than anybody else. And then they used that power to control and manipulate them, to beat them down in the dust. That was a form of terrorism. Now, when these people say, I can't take it no more, so I have to fight back, then those people who caused all this pain and stuff want to call these terrorists. And so they say, we want to fight them, keep them down, and keep you thinking that you have to be afraid of terrorism. This terrorism is coming at you. This terrorism isn't coming at you. This terrorism is coming at the system and what the system is doing to it. And by the powers that be within the system that is being attacked, they are trying to say to you that we're going to have to silence these guys. And in order for us to silence, we're going to have police on every corner. We're going to have police in the parks. We're going to have hundreds of thousands or more police. We're going to have increased FBI capability. We're going to have more jails and more people put in prison. And all of these things are the result of the system. And I say this to you, the American general public, because this system could not exist without you going along with it. It could not exist without you going along with it. So when you see people out there down, you hear somebody say, well, there was a gunshot, somebody got robbed the other day. You're responsible for it. Who I'm talking to? You, the general public. You're more responsible for it than the politicians. Because the politicians, since the beginning of time, have proven to the people that they don't give a darn about them, and they're concerned about themselves, and yet situated in such a way that you go along with it. But this is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And if I had to apologize to anybody, I would apologize to the babies that are being born every day for not doing whatever we could to end birth, but coming into this hell, bringing these children into the hell that we have already created and that we have taken our hands off, and is being built more and more every day. Sure, some of us might have had some smiles in the early part of our life. Some of us might be having smiles today. But those babies who are born, they won't be smiling, because the smiles that you gave during the times when you should have been frowned up and doing something about it, you didn't do it. And these babies are going to have to go through straight hell, pure hell, making what you go through, the hell that you go through, look like a party. So, just so you'll get an understanding that the solutions to our problem is recognizing what's going on. There is no moral compass in America. They claim to have moral compass, but it's all set to a limit. When it gets to a certain point, all the morality gotta get back behind us, and we're going to step into the area of immorality and project ourselves and project ourselves. And after we project ourselves as being the mightiest, after we project ourselves as being the most demonic, then we're going to come back and say, this is moral, and you have to accept it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it's like to stand up and talk to you, putting down your government, putting down people that serve in your government, knowing that the system does not take that, they don't like that, they will kill your butt in a minute if anybody listens. The thing that Pryor said the truth to you for 30-some years, the reason that I'm living today is because you haven't paid any attention to what I'm saying. And the reason that you haven't paid any attention is because I tell you stuff that God wants you to know. God wants you to know that God is God, the creator of all existence, not man. God wants you to know that when you were made to live as though you were in heaven, wherever you might be. Man didn't do that. Not only did God say you were made to do that, He gave all of the stuff outside that was needed that you could not provide. God provided it in the earth, on the earth, above the earth, seen and unseen. God did all of that. And just to make sure that it could be recognized, God instilled in each individual a desire that would lead them to a door of acquiescing these things that are hidden in the earth, on the earth and above the earth that we can't see, just so that it could be used to construct and create and develop those things that are common amongst us to keep us alive, like food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare. And the number one thing that God created for us that would make this assured is careers of our own choosing. Choosing the careers of that little special thing that was put inside of you. And those things, when employed, will do all the rest, ladies and gentlemen. And all the liars, all the cheaters, all the con artists come to you talking about money. All the con artists and liars and cheaters and murderers come to you talking about banks and credit and loan and taxes. And those are nothing but schemes. When Madoff did it, the people didn't know it. Madoff got away with a whole bunch of stuff. The government knew it. They were in it. But Madoff got greedy and got caught, and they separated themselves from it. But it's the same thing in the system of the world, not just here in America, all over the globe. Is nothing but a scam, and you, the people, are being used. God made us all to be equal, to be most powerful. And the only way we can be powerful is to put our trust in God, not in Republicans, not in Democrats, not in men, not in women, but in what is right. And God follows wherever righteousness is. Now I'm going to say this to you. Right now you are scared to death. Donald Trump, you're scared to death of him. He's the biggest deceiver you ever laid your eyes on. And you got congressmen who you have voted for and put in office to look after your interests. And they tell you that they are looking after your interest. And you are buying into it as if they are doing it, because they have tricked you so much, pumped you so much, primed you so much to the evilness and the ugliness that exists in them also exists in you. In fact, it's the same. But if you want to change things, you're going to have to get rid of that junk. You're going to have to start caring about others, and not just your race, not just your gender, not just your nationality. You're going to have to care about it all, because that is morally right. Morally right. And right now, every government on the face of the earth is immoral, propped up by the few people in it that still loves God. Now, I'm going to tell you a big secret as Americans and people of the earth. If you people stood up to the government, and I'm going to give you an example. They say there's between 7 to 8 billion people on the face of the earth. I don't really know, but let's just use the 8 billion number. If 4 billion of the people decided that they were going to live moral, they were not going to conform to the immoral acts of humankind one more day. That means that 4 billion people say they would. They would live immoral. And since you want to live moral and they don't want to have anything to do with you, that immoral group might not be with one finger on blowing you up, but it'll be the will of all the immoral people to blow you up who are moral, to take you off the face of the earth. But I say to you, if you are serious, if you are real, and if you're standing over there with this moral group and they're talking about taking you out, you got to be real. Here's the trick. When they put their hands, or that one person put their hands on it to blow you up, something will go wrong. And if anybody's blown up, it will be them. You've heard it said that the Bible refers to the return of Christ. And that if he had not returned, even the most elitist, even the most loving people of God would have been destroyed. That's the scenario, ladies and gentlemen. All of you believing in God, and those who don't believe in God decide to destroy you and will actually go to the act of destroying you. But like a plane falling down with a full load of passengers, and somebody survives, God will render that same thing to those of you who are moral. I can't say it any more simple than that. I can't say it any more simple than that. But I do say one more thing. If you don't begin to get your act together now, tomorrow you are going to be fucked up. Bye-bye.